No one has more state pride than New Mexicans. The vibrant culture, bold flavors, unique history, and dramatic landscapes under our Zia sun are like no other. And the people of New Mexico are a rare breed. As diverse as we are, together we breathe life and soul into this high desert land. A land that promises adventure. I'm Michael Newman, and as your host, I'll be taking you with me as I seek out the best the land of enchantment has to offer.
New Mexico, feels like home to me. It feels so true. It's time well spent when I spend it with you.
Thanks for tuning in for another episode of New Mexico True Television. I'm your host, Michael Newman. In this episode, we're exploring the town of Cloudcroft. From hitting the trails to scrambling the greens of the lodge and chowing down on some insane barbecue, we are taking it all in. Just a few blocks to the south of US 82 in Cloudcroft, you'll find the Lodge Resort and Spa. This iconic Victorian hotel is situated on a peak overlooking the surrounding Sacramento Mountains and boasts a rich interior harkening back to its early golden years. From its inception, it has been a resort and a place of leisure where one's stay is accompanied by a number of activities. Tennis, golf, dancing, you name it. But there's no doubt about it, golf reigns supreme, and it's definitely one of the biggest draws for folks coming to the lodge today. One of North America's oldest courses, the greens of the lodge have to be among its most beautiful too. I decided to show up for the weekly golf scramble so I could get some time on the fairway. Looks like this is the place to be on a Wednesday.
All right, welcome guys for another scramble up here in the mountains. What a beautiful day. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
What a great turnout.
Yeah. Mike goes over the rules for the scramble. We'll break into teams of 4, and we'll each tee off on each hole, but then choose who got the best tee shot and play from that point. It's all about teamwork, not individual competition. Otherwise, our top priority is to make fun the name of the game.
Stan's gonna lead us off.
Ready as I'll ever be.
Yes, sir.
Very nice.
That's money shot. Let's see how this goes.
All right.
Well, you signed a waiver not to laugh, by the way. I don't know
Right.
if you know that.
Is that what that said?
Yeah.
And basically on the driver, you're putting the ball on the inside of your lead foot and turning that lead foot out a little bit. There you go.
There.
Perfect. It's how smooth. Yeah,
All right.
good shot.
Yes, I'm good to go home right now. I'm good.
All right, yeah.
That's all I needed.
Nice shot.
Nice.
Yes, ma'am.
There you go.
Birdie, all right. Okay, we're gonna need 2 clubs here. Of course, one of them's gonna be your putter, but the
Right.
other one is gonna be something that we can chip his ball up onto the green close to the flag with.
Okay.
And usually a higher number is better for chipping,
Okay.
like a 9-iron. Yes,
Okay.
that'll work fine.
All right. My goal will be not to get any grass. I want to leave the grass intact today.
Yeah.
Just trying to set some realistic expectations for myself here. I think that's reasonable.
Attaboy. Oh!
We still have a few holes left where I should have the opportunity to redeem myself, but thankfully, my teammates' skills more than compensate for my beginner's abilities. That's why a guy like me signs up for a scramble, because you get to hang with the pros without having to play like one.
Good shot.
Right into the water. I do have to say, this is the most fun I've ever had playing golf, and the gorgeous mountain backdrop doesn't hurt. Here we are, the final hole. There we go.
All right, yeah! Nothing to it.
I like this team golf thing. We head back to Rebecca's. Named for the hotel's most famous spirit, this elegant dining room takes you back to Victorian times when she would have been working here. One of the most distinct pieces, though, is the long mahogany bar, once belonging to Al Capone. We're celebrating in style. A glass of wine precedes our prime rib dinner. I'm telling you, the folks in Cloudcroft have it figured out. After dinner, I sit down to grab a few words with the hotel's manager, Sherry.
The original lodge was built in 1899. It was a little closer to town than this one is. It was an all-wood structure with about 7 fireplaces, and so it actually caught on fire several times. It burned to the ground in 1909. They immediately started building this building, a little higher up, a little more scenic, right on top of the very top of the mountain. The railroad built the lodge actually as a retreat for their employees to come up from El Paso in the summertime when it was hot down there. They could come up here in the summer where it was cool.
And just seeing the energy from the golf scramble we just did, it seems like golf is a big part of the community. A lot of people come out for that. Has that always been the case?
It has. The railroad actually built the golf course in 1899 when they built the hotel. So we are one of the oldest golf courses west of the Mississippi. And our first tee box is at 9,000 feet. So we're actually one of the highest in North America and like number 7 in the world as far as elevation.
So it's kind of like a flagship.
It is. Every governor has stayed here, and we've had lots and lots of famous guests. Everybody from Pancho Villa to movie stars. You know, when people think about Cloudcroft, they think about the lodge.
The scramble is generally every Wednesday, but check their website for a schedule of events. Make sure to get up to the tower where you can find the autographs of 2 of the most famous movie stars who stayed here. And not to mention, it's the best place to take in the sunset. Stay tuned for the best barbecue west of Texas.
Whether you want to unplug and reconnect or plan your next great outdoor adventure, New Mexico State Parks has it all. Enjoy camping, boating, fishing, hiking, and special events all year round in 34 parks. Visit nmparks.com and book up to 6 months in advance. New Mexico State Parks, your official sponsor of adventure.
In today's competitive marketing environment, there's a lot of buzz about drone video. Businesses of all types are looking skyward for better images to promote their companies, products, and services. Communities large and small are using drone video for economic development and tourism applications. Real estate agents know the value of drone video as a powerful selling tool for the homes, commercial buildings, and properties that they represent. Even ranchers are finding new and unique uses for drone video. And everyone wants professional drone video for their websites, social media, trade shows, and more. That's why Cliff Dweller Digital's FAA certified drone pilots will consult with you to ensure that your drone footage captures exactly what you want and need. Nothing compares to drone video, shot indoors or out by the professionals with more drone capabilities and experience than anyone else in New Mexico. Cliff Dweller Digital. Check us out at cliffdwellerdigital.com or call 505-891-7400. We look forward to working with you.
Discover the rich history, ancient cultures, tempting cuisine, world-class art, and experiences you'll only find in Sandoval County, where traditions are born and memories are made. Sandoval County is New Mexico true.
Get your wild side on at Wildlife West Nature Park in Edgewood. The whole family will enjoy following the trail through our wildlife refuge and zoo year-round. You can get up close and personal with our cougars and more than 20 other species of New Mexico wildlife, including bobcats, elk, bear, fox, and a whole lot more. For park hours and our upcoming events, visit us at wildlifewest.org. Wildlife West Nature Park is New Mexico true.
Do you take a lot of pictures on your New Mexico travels? Well, if you do, show us by hashtagging New Mexico True on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Mad Jack's Mountaintop Barbecue. It's impossible to miss when you pull into Cloudcroft. The signs on the facade broadcast the array of goods they have inside, but the line making its way out the door is the best advertising you could ask for. The man behind it all is the guy with the cleaver, whacking at the brisket that has helped make this place famous. I'll just warn you right now, you're gonna have a hard time deciding what to order, because when you're queued up, you get a sneak peek at every item coming off the line. Do I need to say more?
She check your ID at the door? This ain't for boys right here. Look at that. Look at that, brother. Woo! A lot of meat on that bone. You're definitely gonna need a nap after that. Thank you, brother. Give you guys a snack. You look hungry, boss.
He actually throws meat at people and they love it.
Woo! Tender as your mother's heart.
I'm up next. All right, what do we have here?
Hey!
So what is the magic? How are you making this all happen?
Lots of love, brother.
Lots of love?
Yeah. You can't have good barbecue without a lot of sacrifice.
Okay.
And we stay up all night with this baby.
Uh-huh.
We use post oak from Central Texas, go all the way back home to get my oak, 600 miles.
Wow.
Just attention to detail, I think.
Right.
We use a real good quality brisket, upper end choice, all natural, no antibiotics.
Right.
So I tell the guys that help me with the fires and everything, it's like several steps to doing it. You know, first trimming it just right.
Right.
Then the seasoning, which we're from Central Texas, so we just use a real basic salt and pepper seasoning on the
wow.
brisket. And then maintaining the fire right, keeping a good clean fire going with post oak.
Right.
Low and slow, all night long.
Yeah,
I live upstairs, so that helps me a lot. 2 o'clock in the morning, I come down in my pajamas, put another stick on the fire.
Okay, so this is your blood, sweat, and tears in this stuff.
You got it, man. Look at that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Woo, look at
That's beautiful.
Look at that moisture.
You don't
like
see
a
that in many
waterfall.
places, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of love in it. That's
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes, sir.
When I first started, my dad had always told me in the old days, he said, if you want to be good at something, find somebody that's the best and copy what they do. So
Okay.
I'm from Lockhart, down south of Austin, where there's some legendary barbecue joints. So I went in there and talked to my friends there, and they taught me a lot. And then I was emailing Aaron Franklin in Austin, which has one of the best places in the country.
Right.
And he was nice enough to help me a lot and give me some advice along the way. So
Yeah.
after that, it's just a lot of practice and patience.
Let it do its thing, and then it'll be good.
Yeah, using good cuts of meat make a big difference.
Right. Thank you for bringing this delicious barbecue to New Mexico.
Oh, you're welcome, brother.
I
I'm
appreciate
enjoying
you.
it up here. Nice
Thank
and cool
you, sir.
up here.
I will give you a hand, but I'll give you the bow.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you,
Enjoy that.
James.
You're going to like it.
I appreciate it, man. I'm sold on this place, and I haven't even sampled their product yet. They're only open Thursday through Sunday, but Mad Jack's is worth scheduling your trip around. And they will serve until items are sold out, so that means get here early. An hour and a half northeast of Las Cruces off US 82 East on your way into Cloudcroft, you will find the Cloud Climbing Trestle Trail. From the highway, you'll see the landmark railroad trestle for which it is named, along with a lookout point sharing some of the history of this rail line completed in 1900. Known as the Alamogordo and Sacramento Mountain Railroad, the line went from merely transporting lumber to bringing vacationers to these mountains. A replica of the old depot serves as a launch point for the trail system of the Trestle Recreation Area, and I make my way for the path that will lead me into Mexican Canyon to get a better look at the trestle. A dense woodland of firs and pines provide ample shade, and with the cooler temperatures of this elevation, it's not surprising all those folks from El Paso and Alamogordo chose to come up here to spend their weekends over 100 years ago, and still do to this day. It's not long before I come across the first highlight of this hike, a vista overlooking the Tularosa Basin. The expansive dunes of white sands become a band of white stretching the entirety of the panoramic view before me. As I make my next descent, the railroad ties bordering the path serve as a reminder of this trail's former incarnation. At the turn of the last century, 58 trestles and hairpin turns upped the drama factor on a railway that climbed 6% grades and moved at a crawl through the clouds. The most impressive stretch arguably being the S trestle, consisting of two 30-degree turns and whose remains can still be seen among the pines. Ghosts of the railroad laying beneath the canopy of trees they once towered alongside. After only 1 mile, I reach my destination, the overlook to the Mexican Canyon Trestle, a structure reaching 6 stories in height and spanning the length of a football field. Built of Douglas fir and completed in 1889, this trestle has stood the test of time, and being placed on the National Register of Historic Places, it should be with us for many years to come. For a more challenging hike, try the Dead Man Canyon Loop Trail, known for its great wildlife and birding. If you need to give your legs a rest but want to take in the views, go for a drive on the Sunspot Scenic Byway. And no matter what, if you're coming from the west on US 82, stop at the Old Apple Barn on your way in for a quick treat. Up next, a walk back in time.
Discover the rich history, ancient cultures, tempting cuisine, world-class art, and experiences you'll only find in Sandoval County, where traditions are born and memories are made. Sandoval County is New Mexico true.
Approximately 6 million visitors come to Albuquerque each year, all year long. They represent millions of dollars to our economy, so we need to welcome them and treat them right. You may think that hospitality training is just for people in the hospitality industry, like restaurants and hotels, right? Well, hospitals, pharmacies, gas stations, fast food restaurants, and many others also qualify. If your business touches or has the potential to touch our visitors, then you should consider attending one of our Albuquerque Concierge Excellence or ACE trainings.
A lot of informative information about Albuquerque and kind of reminding me the things that I do love about Albuquerque and looking at it as a local, but also keeping in mind of a tourist and reminding myself to try these places out, and that way I'm able to recommend and talk really highly about Albuquerque and what we have to offer.
If you're looking for a way for you and your staff to enhance your customer service experience, Visit Albuquerque would like to invite you to join us at one of our monthly ACE classes. The 3-hour course explores things to do and see in the Albuquerque area, as well as the do's and don'ts of customer service. ACE is helpful for all positions, and it's worth the $25 per student investment. To learn how you can make each guest experience better, call 505-222-4338 or email partnerevents@visitabq.org.
Your New Mexico Four Corners adventure begins in Farmington, the perfect destination for active families and outdoor enthusiasts, where the only thing bigger than our big skies and badlands are the big adventures that challenge your wild side. Farmington will jolt your journey with unexpected surprises, whether you're 8 or 80. Farmington, where active families and outdoor enthusiasts thrive. Farmington is New Mexico true. Begin your journey at farmingtonnm.org.
And now from the pages of New Mexico Magazine. At the eastern edge of Cloudcroft on US 82 is the Sacramento Mountain Museum and Pioneer Village. Celebrating the history of this area, going back to the original inhabitants, the Mescalero Apaches, this museum and recreated village give visitors a realistic glimpse into what life was like for the settlers of these mountains. Collected and reconstructed on this property are the more essential components of a pioneer town. From local businesses to their place of worship, all facets have been pulled together to become a microcosm of life at the turn of the century. This cottage housed a family of 9. Cozy feels like an understatement. But from ranchers to people harvesting timber for the railroad, the folks who carved out a life for themselves in this rugged environment were resilient, to say the least. Another remarkable aspect of this museum is how involved the docents have been to make this a reality, one of who was on hand to share some of the history with me.
What happened originally was J. Arthur Eddy and his brother and a lawyer out of El Paso wanted to build a railroad from El Paso north, and they needed lumber for cross ties and buildings and trestles. Cloudcroft started as a logging enterprise for the railroad. They did a spur line that came up the mountain to here. Once the train started coming up the mountain, they added excursion cars, and then the railroad actually built some facilities like the lodge, and that all started with J. Arthur Eddy.
We make our way for Eddy's house, the interior filled with period-specific furnishings and items, down to the burlap wall coverings for insulation.
This is the original railroad depot from Mountain Park, which is a few miles down the mountain here. So we've made this into a combination depot and post office. The way they did the post offices back then is they had 2 boxes, ingoing and outgoing, and everybody just came in and went through the mail and picked theirs out.
You gotta trust your neighbors back then, huh?
Absolutely.
Inside the depot, you'll find plenty of relics and equipment, but the kid in you will enjoy popping into the old train car outside from the Southern and Pacific Railway. There's certainly no shortage of train aficionados who know what I'm talking about here. I was just headed out when I got pulled in another direction.
Come in, get out of that sunshine.
I know, you got some shade under here. What do we have?
We got this is called a chuck wagon.
Okay.
And what does the word chuck mean?
I'm not sure.
Food. This is what they did to feed the cowboys that drove the cattle from Texas to Montana or Colorado or wherever. This wagon carried everything that you need. Extra food, bedrolls, feed for the horses, blacksmith stuff. Most of the time they got 2 meals a day, one before the sun came up and one after the sun went down. And it was basically all the same. It was going to be beans, 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 and biscuits, some kinds of meat, probably fried bacon or sow bellies, what it was called.
Right. Next time I'm getting a biscuit and some beans.
That's correct.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Note to self, come back for the biscuits. For more great stories like this from New Mexico Magazine, visit newmexico.org. Right on Burro Avenue in Cloudcroft is the Western Bar and Cafe. Half eatery and half saloon, the Western Bar and Cafe is physically and metaphorically the epicenter of this town. Bare bones and down home on one side, with a classic Old West vibe on the other, this place covers all bases when it comes to ambiance. Cowboys driving cattle through town tacked their money to the wall in case they didn't have cash the next time around. Clearly, it caught on. Dating back to the 1890s, this building was originally the General Mercantile, becoming a bar in the early 1900s. It's also the only building in town to never have caught fire, so legend has it, the place is blessed. All I can say is, it's certainly revered by the locals, one of whom I met at the bar.
We try and come here on Tuesday because the price is right.
Right.
A dollar, think about it. Every time, if you don't have a dollar in your pocket for a taco, you can just reach right up here and snatch one right off the ceiling.
Oh, that's the secret. So do you live in Cloudcroft, or are you from
Cloudcroft?
Cloudcroft?
About a year and a half ago, I bought a house up here. The weather was just so nice up here. And if you were down below looking up here, you could always see the weather was always changing. So I said, instead of wondering what's going on, I said, I just better get up there and live there.
Right.
Down in the valley right now, it's 98 degrees, and up here it's about 66, 67 degrees. So on a really bad day, it might be about 25% humidity. So it's,
oh, man.
We're living a dream up here, man. Cloudcroft for a reason.
Cloud, and it's above the clouds. I feel like I need some tacos and some nachos now, for sure.
Oh, here, let me...
You take care of my bill for me?
Yeah, I got it for you. It's no problem. You're good to go.
There are no strangers at the Western Bar and Cafe. Undoubtedly, that's part of the appeal. The longer I stayed at the bar, the more of the backstory I picked up. Like, there was a fire that swept through the entire row of buildings on the street, but once the fire reached the western side of the bar, it stopped, jumped right over it, and moved on up to the east. Just ask one of the locals. They'll tell you how this ties into the face you may see in the wall in the cafe. There's a reason it's this packed on a Tuesday. The tacos, a great night to go. Also, this joint is cash only, so bring your greenbacks, including singles to peg to the wall. Coming up, an all-terrain adventure.
Feel the beat of traditional native dances. Explore the Pueblo story through immersive museum exhibits. Taste Pueblo-inspired new Native American cuisine. Located in the heart of Albuquerque, the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center is your gateway to the 19 pueblos of New Mexico. Bring the whole family for a day of discovery. Plan your adventure at IndianPueblo.org.
Santa Rosa. Come, visit, and discover a magical place where you can step back in time, relive the glory years of Route 66, experience our inspiring, photo-perfect natural beauty, and explore one of Billy the Kid's favorite hideaways. Santa Rosa is New Mexico true.
Are you looking for an adventure that's a bit out of the ordinary? You've come to the right place. Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary in northwestern New Mexico.
This is my home, and this is my pack. I've helped rescue over 400 wolves over the last 2 decades. Beautiful animals that unfortunately cannot be released into the wild.
Your visit will give you an intimate look at these magnificent creatures and an appreciation that only comes with an experience like this.
Check us out at wildspiritwolfsanctuary.org.
Find your next life-changing adventure in Gallup. Real, true adventures. For art lovers, culture seekers, and outdoor adventures. Gallup is real, true. Plan your next life-changing adventure at GallupRealTrue.com.
Your New Mexico Four Corners adventure begins in Farmington, the perfect destination for active families and outdoor enthusiasts, where the only thing bigger than our big skies and badlands are the big adventures that challenge your wild side. Farmington will jolt your journey with unexpected surprises, whether you're 8 or 80. Farmington, where active families and outdoor enthusiasts thrive. Farmington is New Mexico true. Begin your journey at farmingtonnm.org.
Do you need a reason to hit the road? Find out about upcoming events around the state at newmexico.org. And now, here's another New Mexico True Treasure.
Hi, I'm Sheena Neese, and I think that White Sands National Monument is a New Mexico true treasure. White Sands is like no other place that I've ever traveled on planet Earth. When you're driving down in southern New Mexico and all of a sudden you see the white sand appearing, it's like this place is drawing me in. I have to go in and see what it's about. The color and the contour of the light at all times of day is just magical. My favorite time of day was when the sun started to go down and you could see it casting light on the mountains in the distance and the contours of the dunes changing. The skies all over New Mexico are why people, I think, keep coming back. And in White Sands especially, the dunes are just so sparkly, crystally white that the contrast with the blue skies makes for really dramatic photographs. You feel so isolated and small, but also you can feel the expansiveness of the universe.
On Burro Avenue in the middle of Cloudcroft, you'll find Burro Street Bakery. This is the place to drop in and grab a cappuccino or your morning pastry. And when it comes to baked goods, they're best known for their pies. But they're also the only place in town to rent an ATV. So once you've had your morning caffeine fix, you can hit the trails.
Yeah, let's do it. Get my helmet on. All right, now I'm looking the part.
Let's go.
With literally hundreds of miles of trails, both single and double track, the forest surrounding Cloudcroft is a mecca for ATV and mountain bikers. It had been a while since I'd been on an ATV, and this was definitely the place to do it. Even with the revving of the motor and us cutting through the trees at a pretty good clip, we still managed to see quite a bit of wildlife, although we couldn't stop quick enough to get a shot of it. We were moving a little too fast for that, as were they. Bear, deer, and even elk sightings are a common occurrence in these parts. On this ride, bear sighting? Check. Deer? Check. Will we see elk around the next bend? I wouldn't be surprised. That's one thing that's cool about being on an ATV, just how much ground you can cover, and the sightseeing you're able to do while still feeling more immersed in the woods than you would in any other kind of vehicle. Since I rented from the folks at Burro Street Bakery, they were able to point out some great trails to me. But if you're bringing your own ATV, another great resource is the Sacramento Ranger District on Lost Lodge Road for maps and info. I'd also recommend dressing in layers. The temperatures and weather up here can change quickly. And if you have a good camera with a long lens, bring it. There will definitely be some wildlife photo ops. We're glad you could come along with us to our exploration of Cloudcroft and its surrounding beautiful mountains. Hopefully, it inspires you to get out here and see it for yourself. And with that being said, what are you doing next weekend?